This is a Ben Frank Connection presentation.
What is going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the ABJP Tornado Tag. This week in wrestling, February 4th, 2024. Currently, right now, as we are recording, NXT is on, and we've already found out that the new Dusty Classic Cup champions are Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes and Baron Corbin. And Joe Gacy just got pinned by Dijak. So we will pop in stuff here and there for NXT, but
I like that we're just kind of, I wish it was taped. I wish this was like back in the day when Eric Bischoff would give away what happened on Nitro or Raw on Nitro.
Yeah.
The Russian beats the big guy with a super kick that wouldn't get a green belt at the YMCA.
Here's my thing with that. So that I listen to Bischoff's takes and everyone's takes about Tony Khan on Twitter, and I'm not a fan of Tony Khan on Twitter, but for Bischoff to say, or anyone like Paul Heyman or any of these people who are like, what he's doing is terrible and how dare he do that? He's an executive. He should be treating it as such. Bro, if Bischoff had Twitter back in the Monday Night Wars, could you imagine what he'd be saying?
If Twitter existed in the Monday Night Wars, oh boy.
Paul Heyman would have been. You don't think Paul Heyman would have used Twitter if it was available to him in pro wrestling?
Oh, absolutely. He was.
Exactly. That's why I think they're all hypocrites.
He tried to really get a YouTube thing going. And I apologize for the lighting here.
Brian got a new camera, but the problem is he didn't change his light bulbs in his room.
Well, I have a light bulb, but it's all the way across the room, and I have one light bulb for the entire room. We need to start doing this thing during the day. We need to start doing this thing at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it'll be nice and bright in here with natural light. Right now, I look like I have like an entrance going on during the Attitude Era or something.
Yeah,
but no. If social media would have existed back then, they all would have been.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been like now they're a little hypocritical to be like, I would have never how dare he? But anyway,
like imagine this week talking about what happened this week. Solo Sikoa deleted his Twitter because people found these tweets from like way back when, and not even like bad stuff. It was like talking about like hating math and not liking school, and he deleted his Twitter.
Oh my god, I hate math class. Oh, this guy's canceled. But this week in wrestling, so this will actually be. Oh yeah, this is. Have you heard about this? The Chase U calendar.
I have.
So essentially, they're making a Chase U OnlyFans. They're going to use like it was like a Godfather skit. It was like we're going to bring in girls.
It fits in with the level of production they usually have on some of these backstage segments, which has been adult film quality, for lack of a better term.
Here's a crazy thing about this, though. In light of everything coming out about sexual trafficking coming out of WWE, they do this bit on NXT.
Shawn Michaels isn't paying attention. He's just doing whatever he wants down there. He's doing whatever he wants.
It's a bold move.
Let's see if it pays off.
Yeah. But so this week in wrestling, we hope that you guys don't love this too much because it's dead. It's dead. We're not doing this no more. Tornado Tag is staying, but
barring
this week in wrestling.
Barring like monumental events, which seem to be happening one after another lately, and obviously when WrestleMania happens, we're going to talk about it. And
so essentially, you'll get modern wrestling talk for a little bit in the beginning of the show. We'll cover the hot ones, the hot takes, the news, this and that. Some independent stuff will sneak in there. So we'll have like a 10-20 minute window of like filibuster or bullshit and talking about things we're into, as well as this week in wrestling. Baby. What's that?
I'm gonna do some filibustering.
Yes. And then we're going to switch to the topic of the show. So if you have been a fan of our old Tornado Tag podcast, this is kind of what we did. It was like a little bit of modern, and then we had a show topic. The topic may be this history of this person, and we talk about the history of somebody in the business that you may or may not know about, or you learn something that you didn't know about before. We talk about, we've done historic venues, we've done historic people, we've done historic timelines, we've done old pay-per-views, we've done independent pay-per-views. So there's a little bit of everything that we cover in that aspect. And we both kind of talked about it, and it's way more fun to do that than just This Week in Wrestling talk every single week. And I think the history stuff's fun.
Yeah, and it's how much more can we say that hasn't been said already about
that all
Cody
your
Rhodes
favorite YouTubers regurgitated because they heard it from somebody else,
or like this Vince McMahon thing is gonna get ugly. It's gonna get uglier. It's gonna get bad. It's not going anywhere. It's gonna.
Let's start with that. Let that, because so much more has come out.
Well, nothing really has come out other than, I think the big news since we last did a show, which was about a week and a half ago, is that there are now talks of a investigation, like a criminal investigation, which shouldn't be a surprise. I know
it should be a criminal investigation.
There's evidence there. If there's enough evidence to bring the guy to trial, look, if he is guilty of everything that they've said he is, and that remains to be seen. It's once you talk about criminal charges, that's where all that, you can have your opinion of the guy, but when you talk about criminal charges, that's where that whole innocent until proven guilty thing really comes into play. But if he is guilty of everything they said in that statement, he should die in prison. Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's talk about it, and it shouldn't come as a surprise. I know they served a warrant on him. I think it was early last year, just taking a cell phone, and no, nothing's happened yet in that direction. But there's been a lot as far as talk of that possibly being escalated to a possible criminal investigation. The fact that I know not so much the accuser in this case, but her attorney. I believe her name's Ann Callis. I know her last name's Callis because it's Don Callis. I believe it's Ann Callis, who has basically made it sound like they really aren't looking to settle, because any legal expert has said, like, just Vince should go up to him with a blank check and say, whatever it takes to make this go away, let's do it. And that I mean, obviously there might be a number like, okay, 30 million and it goes away, but it seems like now they might not be particularly interested in just the money. They might want to see this guy go down. And and I know Ann Callis has also said something to the effect of, my phone has been ringing off the hook, and I'm paraphrasing, but my phone has been ringing off the hook, basically with other accusers, other people. There are other NDAs that were signed. There is one, I think the largest one was $7.5 million. And
could you imagine what that girl went through?
It might not just be like what they went through, but it was also like what their asking price was. The rumor there is that it was a talent. It was a female wrestler, to the point where they think, a lot of people, and I'm not going to name names here, but a lot of people think they know who the wrestler is.
Yeah.
But they that all remains to be seen. If this goes back far enough, she's been very quiet, but Rita Chatterton is still alive. The original accuser from the 80s is still alive, and I think
there's some female talent who no longer with the company who are putting some stuff on Twitter of like, oh, if these like people know things. Like,
and the people that are putting that out there were there around the same time as the person who's rumored to be the recipient of the $7.5 million NDA.
So I don't want to say that, like, when I met a talent, they told me stuff that I shouldn't have known. It has happened, but this talent who's tweeting is the same person I talked to, and they never said anything in detail. They just essentially said, like, you got to find your own happy space, whether if it's in this business or not in this business, because the higher up you get, the more disappointing things get. And I didn't know what they meant by that until, you know what I mean? Until it happened. And that's kind of what I want to lean into. I hope I'm not saying anything out of line or something that you don't want out there. It's nothing crazy, but like, there was a point in time where you you were going to pack it in when it came to the WWE side of things. Like, not just from a wrestling standpoint, but just morally, to support that company.
There's a lot of cognitive dissonance it takes to support that company for a lot of reasons.
I'm not going to try to come off and be like, you're clearly an AEW guy, and this is why you're saying it. It's not. It has nothing to do with AEW or WWE.
Lately, I've preferred WWE's product, to be perfectly honest.
And it's not. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to like punish the talent for it, but it's just like, man, it's hard to fucking look at that logo. It's hard to look at that, like, to know where it came from and the things people went through. And I'm going to be honest, man. I don't think this is just going to be a WWE Vince issue. I think more people are going to come out in this. I don't think people are all going to get in trouble legally for stuff, but I think a lot of the people that we love and the people we looked up to as our heroes and our legends and things we liked, a lot of names are going to get put out here. And it's essentially, and I'm not trying to make light of this, and this is not, I'm not saying this in a joking manner at all. You kind of alluded to it in our chat. We have a WWE Epstein situation possibly.
Oh yeah.
Where there could be a list, and there could be a lot of people we really care about and love who have done horrible things. Well, their stories on the independent scene are stories that we've been privy to that are possibly going to come out soon, and it's going to be damaging to people. Like,
and I mean, that was a big thing. What, like,
real quick, I feel like when I said damaging to people, it means I'm trying to defend our heroes by it's going to ruin them, and I'm for them. I'm pro them, and not the. That's not what I'm getting at at all about that. If they did something wrong, I don't care if they're my favorite wrestler of all time or my hero. They have to atone for what they did.
Yeah, because your favorite wrestler of all time probably did some stuff.
3 of my favorite wrestlers of all time have probably done something. It's
but no, it's something where the fact that it's coming to light is going to hurt fans, but it's a necessary thing. I'm not even going to say necessary evil. It's evil is what happened to these people. Yes. Like, that's the evil. It's a necessary good. It's a cleansing. And that kind of started with the whole speaking out thing, but it then kind of it sputtered out. I mean,
top though, because there's too many people who collect paychecks, and they would not go after the high ones, so they would take low hanging fruit.
Yeah, like classic example, WWE. They got rid of Jack Gallagher. But Matt Riddle kept his job for a long time until he became too much of a headache to deal with. Like, that was a big thing. That was a huge deal, and it's going to be something that is, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to kind of reconcile the company with the people who built it, and that's a big thing.
It's hard to watch a lot of historic stuff.
Yeah, which is why we're going back to historic stuff.
Yeah, so we're going back to the historical stuff. But I mean, like,
that is something like that. That's something where
Dark Side of the Ring's like, yo, we just extended for 10 more years.
Well, it's funny when you're talking about like the higher up you get, like, it made me think of that Plane Ride from Hell episode, and the only person who ever really suffered any repercussions for that was Tommy Dreamer, and he came back, but like, he wasn't even involved. It was just because he was tone deaf on his response.
Flair's my hero, and that's just what he did. And people were like, you defended Flair, but nobody went after Flair.
No, he's an AEW now, the holier than thou company. He signed him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but hopefully it does lead to a situation and a scenario where it's a safer environment for everybody involved. That's
exactly what I wanted to say to wrestling fans. If you're wrestling fans and you're listening to this, or maybe you have other friends who are wrestling fans, I don't want to sugarcoat you, and I'm not your end all be all, but I'm someone you're listening to for some type of entertainment or value or our views or opinions. But it's not going to be easy to be a wrestling fan in a little bit, because this is going to get worse before it gets better. And we're going to have to defend something that we really love worse than we already do by being told, what you're watching is fake. Now it's going to turn into, what you're watching is essentially like Epstein level shit. You know what I mean? It's going to be really hard to be like how to navigate that. And it's going to suck, and tough. It's going to turn away people, and it's going to be hard to be a wrestling fan. But what we have to do is, as fans, as as people in the business, we have to fucking get rid of nonsense. Like, that shit cannot be part of it no more, because it's this is going to leave a black eye on the business, and it's something that if we don't clean up and fix now, you're only going to make it worse for this industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the big thing there too is that that is something that has been there before, but not quite like this. Like in the early 90s, you had this on a much smaller scale. Not to say it was good, but you had Mel Phillips who went away. You had Terry Garvin who went away. Pat Patterson went away for a little bit, but there was always this perception that Patterson kind of was just lumped in because people knew he was gay. And I know, like, a lot of people have said, like, oh, Pat Patterson. The accusations against Patterson didn't seem to have the heft behind them that some of these other allegations did. And Pat Patterson may have done some things that maybe we wouldn't want to hear about. And he's gone now, so it's kind of it's one of those things where you're going to have to do that. And the last time it was like that was the Benoit thing. The Benoit thing was like, it's still like weird for me to go back and watch a show with Chris Benoit. I can do it. Like I'm not one of those people like, oh, I have to turn the TV off. I have to fast forward through this match, but it's hard. It's like you can look back like, oh yeah, that guy was a wonderful talent, but that guy he murdered a child. He murdered his own child. He murdered his wife and son. Like that supersedes everything. Like, yeah, Vince McMahon created all this, but if he did a third of what they're accusing him of doing, he's a monster.
You know who that really damns too, because 90% of why we love him, and he's the biggest iconic wrestling character of almost all time. Like, how do you go back and watch fucking? I mean, either you go back and watch Stone Cold stuff and cheer even harder, or you go back and you're like, man, well, it sucks. It's hard to watch.
Austin had his own accusations, like not misconduct like that, but assault, like domestic violence. Like there's not a lot of people with clean records out there. You never hear this stuff about Bret Hart.
I know I work for the other company, but we all watch WWE because our friends work there too. Is that Keith?
Man,
that can't be the legit.
I'm gonna treat that with a degree of skepticism there.
With the legit dude who just got signed.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is, you've been killing it, man.
It is right on. Yeah, congratulations. But I have a feeling
I have not been that much of a follower of your career, but what you've been doing in AEW, I'm proud of you. Coming from an independent scene.
Yeah, the Brian Keith thing
is you. And if you are real, here's the link. Join in.
There you go.
We'll find out. There you go. I'll pop. But anyway, yeah, it's just I love pro wrestling, and it's a necessary evil, and I just hope we fix it this time around. You know what I mean? I hope it's something we clean up and we get rid of the nonsense and we can move forward. But like I said, it's gonna be tough, man, because like Lesnar caught shrapnel for just text. He never even had they're not even saying he had a physical encounter, and he caught shrapnel. He's being erased from everything, and they're trying to
he's getting that. Well, Vince especially, like he's been erased from everything, and it's can you blame them? Like, can you blame them?
Not at all. I'm just saying, like, if Lesnar's catching this much heat because he's the first name and all of that, like, it's gonna be crazy when more and more come out. Booker T Train Keith, Bounty Keith in the chat. If it is really him, it's Brian Keith. They just said seen him in KC a few times. Dude, everyone I've ever talked to that I know in the business is a huge fan of your work, of his work ethic and who he is as a person. So this is one of the good ones. If it's legit, I've never heard a negative thing about you. Haven't seen any matches, but just what we've seen on TV. But you're very, very entertaining, and I never heard a negative thing about you and we have a lot of friends in the industry. Yeah, they removed him from the Rumble and replaced his spots with Braun Breaker.
Yeah, and I think the wild thing about that, not that this matters, but that means the original plan for Brock in the Rumble was to be thrown out by Dom, which is amazing. I
had kind of a little positive thing. I think Dom wins gold in 2024.
I mean,
gold. I think he gets the IC.
Possible. Once Gunther loses that thing, it's open season, I think. It depends on who Gunther loses it to.
I think Dom gets IC level to status.
It could happen. He's improved. He's been improved by leaps and bounds. He's as over as anybody. Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. Or even if you do a brand flip and he's the US champion, that's fine too.
Well, speaking of Rumbles and Rumble spots, you win the Rumble, BP, and you could go on to pick the opponent of your choosing at WrestleMania.
Or you can do it for The Rock.
Yeah, or everything that happens to WWE happens to WWE. The Rock becomes the chairman of the board.
Not the chairman. He's just on the board. Ari,
I don't know. The board.
Actually, the board has no chairman right now. Ari's the CEO, but I don't think the board. That Vince was the chairman, but he resigned.
Ari's
the Rock is on the board.
It's yours, buddy. You did the eyebrow. Remember the time you did the eyebrow? That was cool.
Well, the link between Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, and The Rock goes a lot deeper than just that. It's also that Ari Emanuel has represented The Rock, or Ari Emanuel's company, Endeavor, has represented The Rock. Mm-hmm. There is a team at that company. I believe I was reading this article. It's mainly about The Rock's manager, his ex-wife, Danny Garcia, who is a lot of The Rock's successes largely because of her. She manages his career very closely, and he also has a team that she kind of spearheads in Endeavor, where they are solely working on maintaining The Rock's image, and it's like almost a dozen people. Like The Rock is a huge part of that company's success, and then The Rock does business with UFC. I believe his tequila company is a big sponsor for UFC, and so it's a natural fit. And these are entertainment industry people, tech people on the board, some sports people. These aren't wrestling people, and The Rock is kind of, it's not even The Rock, it's Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is
he owns The Rock too. So
yeah. And he got $30 million in TKO stock. And that tells you this isn't just part of it is a PR thing. Part of it is, oh, look, The Rock's on the board of directors. A seat on the board of directors doesn't always mean you're holding like incredible amounts of power, but he's as high up in the company as any wrestler's ever been. Like Triple H,
he's got stroke
anymore.
He's got stroke now,
and he's got the ear of the guy who has the final say, which is Ari Emanuel.
Yeah. So with that being said, another rumors coming out and stuff coming through is that WWE is looking to possibly remove all traces, our accounts, our history, or any yes men, or anyone who was near the Vince McMahon table.
That is the rumor, and if people knew, it's a hard situation to be in, because Vince has been even though it's a publicly traded company, one of the things a lot of the coverage on this has been is it's a publicly traded company that was basically run like a tight-knit small family business. Because it was a dictatorship. It was Vince McMahon's fiefdom, and it would have been, for a lot of people, career suicide to speak out against this and say, hey, Vince is up to some really bad stuff here, if they knew about it. And we don't know the extent to what anybody knew about it. And we don't, and that's stuff where if Vince's accuser is very serious about not settling this thing, the next step, if there's not a settlement, is discovery. And discovery means people are going to be brought in to testify under oath. Email histories are going to be pulled. Text messages are going to be pulled from a lot of people. And it is going to bring a lot of things out into the light. And that's why it's not just when they say a lot of big companies settle out of court. A lot of big companies settle out of court to avoid the headache of litigation. It's usually not the possibility that they're going to lose the case. It is just to avoid discovery. It is to avoid to have all of the dirty laundry come to light.
They set up killing on like scorecard.
Hey,
I need to win.
And
I need to win on the
is,
scorecards.
It was just basically throw it at the dartboard for me because I probably haven't. I think the last full episode of NXT I watched was the one where like Undertaker was on there and Cody was on there, and
that was a rough one. But yeah, so I just want to kind of double back here when it comes to this. Is there a situation where possibly The Rock appoints someone else to be head of creative, or he takes head of creative decisions because maybe Tripp doesn't have a future in WWE if this goes forward?
Let's just say this: if Triple H was if he was involved in any way with this, he should be gone. Anybody that was enabling this to happen should be out of there.
Yeah, out
of there. I don't care if you like them or not. It's more important than I like that guy. Gone.
Yeah,
they gotta go.
It's crazy. So,
but yeah, no.
Oh God.
That has been some of the rumor. I mean, let's kind of not dance around a little bit. We're talking about the fact that we don't know for sure because of the way SmackDown kind of ended, but they sure seem to be teasing that it was going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, not The Rock and Cody Rhodes. And then further reports, and now we're getting deeper into the rumor mill and deeper into things that this isn't confirmed by any means of.
Rock Roman's confirmed now. I thought
I don't believe it is.
It's not?
No. It's being heavily teased, but it seems like the thing they're at least from WWE's internals, the thing they're really pushing right now is this WrestleMania press conference in Vegas on Thursday, which you would think if that's the plan, they're going to announce The Rock versus Roman Reigns at that press conference because The Rock's going to be there, Cody's going to be there. And the rumor is now Cody and Seth Rollins, which you would imagine would be the main event of night 1. And then Rock Roman would be the main event of night 2. However, the backlash against this thing. And
crazy.
And the backlash against The Rock in particular, somebody who is incredibly image conscious, who I was just saying 10, 12 people on his team at Endeavor, the parent company of TKO, which is the parent company of WWE. That is a big deal. That is a huge deal. That is something where if The Rock feels like this is going to hurt his public image, this is going to hurt his movie career, this is going to hurt him as a producer, as an actor, as the biggest star. The Rock's not just the biggest star in wrestling. The Rock's probably the biggest star. I take that back. The Rock's probably the third biggest celebrity in the world behind Taylor Swift and Donald Trump.
Do you think Logan Paul's at that level?
No. He's big. He's big. He might be bigger to a younger demographic, but
when it comes to names that are like legit, the only one you're missing on that list is Taylor Swift. I mean, you think of some other names, Logan Paul, Bad Bunny is a very, very popular person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think he's very, very popular with a subset of people. I think there's not a lot of 70-year-old grandmothers who know who Logan Paul is, and a lot of them know who The Rock is.
Yeah. Give me 1 second, Hunter. I will circle back to some of the comments. I want to keep, because I think we're going to lead to some of your comments. So just give us a moment.
But there has been a lot of go ahead. Sorry.
No, you were saying like, where do we go with this? And the heavily rumor is this Rock's call? Did Rock come in and kind of flex his seat and say, this is what we're doing? We lost this guy. I need to come in and save the day. There's a lot of rumor, a lot of speculation. It's looking like Rock versus Roman, and Cody's going to just give up his spot or challenge it at a later time, which kind of diminishes the Rumble win now.
Yeah. Well, if he challenged, the idea is you can challenge for either title, but I don't like if Punk would have won, Punk would have probably challenged Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
But
the thing is like and it's funny because one of the biggest things that AEW dropped the ball when it came to Cody Rhodes is they booked him like he didn't, like he kind of was always like a pushover, and then he had to fight back and win over. And even like the Arn promo, you're a type of guy who comes out there and just gives it to them, and I pull out my knife. You know what I mean? Like that promo was about Cody being a pushover and just letting people step all over him.
Yeah.
And then and that kind of ruined Cody's image. They made Cody look like a chump when a guy comes out and calls you essentially a pussy on TV.
Yeah.
It's not a good look as a pro wrestler. And then he goes to WWE and he loses. He gets cheated, but he loses. And then he just is like, I'm not going to go for the guy who beat me and cheated. I'm going to let The Rock do that, but I'm going to go after the guy I already beat 3 times now. That's not a good. It's not good.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a little different. I think the problem with Cody and AEW wasn't so much one certain promo or one certain thing, was that fan base really wanted Cody to be a heel.
Yeah.
And
they wanted Cody when he left the meeting, was doing the heelish stuff.
Right. Now, that's not the case in WWE. In the crowd is solidly behind Cody in a way they haven't really been behind a guy since, and we'll bring this guy up a little bit later, probably Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Like, Danielson 10 years ago was probably the last time that anybody was this firmly behind a guy. And that's what kind of happened. Kofi. Yeah, you're right. Kofi 5 years ago, 100%. But that was more of a lightning in a bottle thing, and I don't think anybody ever really thought that. With Kofi, I think it was more about they wanted Kofi to have his moment, and I think with Cody, it's about this is our next quarter. Like, he's been referring to himself as the quarterback
of Daniel Bryan.
He's been referring to himself as the quarterback of the becoming the quarterback of the company, and that's what it is. I mean, Roman's not around a lot. Roman's not around a lot. Roman isn't probably long for I'm not even going to say a full-time role in the company, but he might want to scale back even more, which, more power to him. He can make that decision if he wants to, but
yeah,
it's about time to kind of plan out that next guy. It's been 9 years of Roman being the, without a doubt, most protected, most pushed guy, and it's probably time to change it up now.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Actually, I'll die on the hill. It was time last year. They just didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, they could make him the next John Cena easily. Cody could be that guy, and
he's very good at that shake hands, kiss babies role. He's very good at that. He's not the greatest babyface that ever lived, but he's the son of the greatest babyface that ever lived.
I'll say this right now, and I'm historically wasn't a huge Cody fan of Cody as a babyface. I don't like Cody, but I also don't like that style character. I don't like the golden babyface character. Doesn't mean I hate Cody Rhodes. I think as a human being, Cody Rhodes is one of the coolest dudes ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a good dude. He stands up for people, trans people, gay people, people of color. Like, Cody's a man of the people. He's a man of the people, and he's a good human. And he's done so many good things for -1 when Brody passed, and all these good things. Brody's like, Preston like was living in his house when he first started learning to become a wrestler. Like, Cody's a good human. I just don't like the golden babyface characters. And I'm the first one to tell you, like, people are trying to say now that this just proves that Cody's not a star and he's not a draw, like the pro AEW. Are the WBE people trying to justify Rock taking his seat when you were praying for Cody forever, and you're just trying to get behind it because you're seeing everybody else isn't, and you're just trying to be the counter protest of the protest? Cody's a star, and they got to realize that soon and put the strap on.
And they do. And even a lot of the reporting has been that this isn't so much that they don't think Cody is ready, or this is not something.
That's a good analogy. Ryan says Cody's more Rick than Dusty.
Yeah, Rick could be a good babyface too, but Cody is just like he is fitting this role like.
But I think what you're seeing with what he's saying is Cody's a man of the people, but Cody doesn't resonate. He doesn't resonate with the blue collar as much as his dad did. Like, Cody looks too fancy to resonate with the blue collar people. You know what I mean? Like the plumbers and
he's like, wearing the suit and
But Cody's like, Cody is essentially, he dresses like Flair but acts like Dusty. Like, you know what I mean?
Much, like, that's a really good analogy. Mm-hmm. But like, no, there's the perception here isn't that this is something to slight Cody. It's just that, oh, well, we lost Punk. Punk's a huge star. We lost Brock. Brock's a huge star. Cody versus Roman isn't enough to carry this whole thing. I think it is. Especially pull the trigger.
Cody started a fucking company. Like at the end of the day, Cody's a draw.
WrestleMania has always been, we need something extra. This is not anything new for WrestleMania. WrestleMania 1 was literally built on, Hogan, Piper, but it was built on Mr. T and Cyndi Lauper.
Yep.
And they go to that well a lot. And now they have
call Bad Bunny up.
Now they have this guy who is legit a top 5 celebrity in the world. And he used to be a wrestler, and he wants to do it again. So it on the surface, it looks like a good decision. And if this were a different climate, a different business, and again, obviously, Ari Emanuel and The Rock and these people know more about TKO's business than I do. Yeah. But WWE's business is like, this is a good business move. Well, they don't sell pay-per-views anymore. And regardless of how many people watch or don't watch it on Peacock, they're going to get paid the same. They get paid. All of their revenue streams now, besides ticket sales, are fixed.
Mm-hmm.
They get paid a flat rate for Peacock. The TV ratings aren't even going to matter soon when they're on Netflix for most things.
Yep.
The only thing that's really going to be on TV is going to be NXT on the CW, and it's going to be SmackDown on USA. Everything else is going to be on either Netflix or Peacock, where, yes, they're going to want to have a lot of people tune in. A lot of people are going to watch WrestleMania. This last Royal Rumble was the most watched Royal Rumble on Peacock, or on, I think, streaming since, network/Peacock, since they've moved off of pay-per-view, which means it's probably the most watched Rumble ever, because the pay-per-view, like if you got 500,000 buys or 800,000 buys for Royal Rumble, that was a good thing. I don't think it was going to... Where The Rock gives you a benefit is now it's going to be on CNN. Now it's going to be on sports. Well, it'll probably be on SportsCenter anyway. It's going to be on all these other things. It gets you that mainstream attention that WWE has always craved. But they're going to pack that stadium no matter what. They're going to have 1 million people watching on Peacock no matter what. If you were still selling pay-per-views, if you still had to have people say, I'm going to cough up, at this point, it'd probably be $65, $75 to buy WrestleMania. Okay, I would then say, you should probably put The Rock in there if he's willing to go. But that's not the business model anymore.
And with that being the business model, historically, WWE, and we'll just say pro wrestling, has kind of taught us is they don't give a fuck about the fans they already have, because they know they have us. And
right,
we're gonna watch what they're gonna put out. Wrestling historically, WWE historically has always been, how can we get new eyes in? How can we get more people into our ecosystem? Because these marks aren't going anywhere. Right. So let's bring in the name, let's bring in the legend, let's bring in this. And we're trying to say now, like you made a great point, we're in a business model where you should probably lean into the people who care about it. Because
you should do both. And it's funny because if we rewind, and I know we had shows we did around the after WrestleMania last year. I said it then, I'll say it now, I'll say it forever. Cody should have won last year. That was the time.
Totally agree.
Cody should have won last year.
Horrible decision.
It's this old pro wrestling, the money's in the chase. It's the mentality of the guys that Vince beat. Because Vince always had a babyface champion, and the guys that he beat always had a heel champion because they thought the money was in the chase. No, the money's in Cody must pose, Hogan must pose, Austin must pose, Rock must pose, Cena must. That's the money. That's the money. It's people overthinking themselves. But if you do that, like everything Roman has done, the tag matches with Sami and Kevin, the tag matches with the Usos, the fight for the tribal chiefdom with Jey Uso at SummerSlam, that all could have been done without Roman being the champion. The only thing he couldn't have done is defend the title against LA Knight in Saudi Arabia, and LA Knight still hasn't recovered from that. That killed LA Knight's momentum dead.
Yep.
That guy hasn't been the same since he lost to Roman.
And Sami had a rocket on him, and they couldn't pull the trigger because they were so committed on the story.
Well, they did do a great job with him and Kevin beating Roman and Solo. And even though Roman didn't take the pin, it was the first match Roman has lost of any kind in years. Yeah. And that visual of Roman just sitting against the dasher boards outside while Sami's like posing with the tag titles above him is a beautiful visual, and everything they've done with Sami Zayn since then has been a nightmare. Yeah. But that was it's just that they didn't have any more further booking to propel him forward.
That Sammy decision in the Rumble though, that was okay. Rock's not coming out at 30, and everybody wants The Rock at 30, because if The Rock wins at 30, we're not even talking about SmackDown, because nobody's mad that Cody walks out and says, I'm not going to do what you want me to do, because he doesn't win the Rumble. But you gave him the Rumble, and now we have to back. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is the 30 number hits, and Sammy's music hits, and they're thinking, we hope they still love Sammy like they used to love Sammy last year. And they're just like, we want The Rock. Like, it was.
Yeah, they want The Rock. There was people that talked them into MJF. There were people that talked them into all this other stuff.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's the problem that happens a lot with these things in general, is especially the Royal Rumble, is people talk themselves into things happening that were never going to happen. And then when they don't happen, they get mad because their fantasy booking didn't get put through.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be a thing, especially for the Royal Rumble. So if you believe the way that
yeah, we got them all.
Yeah, I'm sure we do. If you believe this reporting on the way this is all kind of worked out, and I think Meltzer was the one that really keyed in on this too, and then Meltzer could be wrong. Meltzer's wrong nowadays more often than he's right.
Yeah, because he's not the one they're feeding shit to anymore.
Right? Yeah. All the people that the only guy that picks up the phone and calls Dave anymore works for the other company. Who was on a cruise when all this happened. Yeah. So the idea here, it was that the plan at the Rumble when it happened, and the way it all shook out, I believe this. It just makes sense to me. It doesn't have to be all insider reporting. It makes sense the way that they represented this. That when the Royal Rumble happened, the idea was Cody, Roman, Seth, Punk. But then it's like, then as they're coming out of the Rumble, it's like, well, this Seth thing or this Vince thing isn't going away. And it's bad. Like, this is going to be a long time scandal, and it could bring a lot of people down. And then Triple H, I get that he was having some issues, but I think that if nothing else, the public perception of his press conference was not a good one. Like, people didn't like the way he handled that by and large. And then on top of that,
you say, okay, well, we're going to pull Brock from the Rumble because of what happened. But as the son of my father-in-law, I didn't read any reports.
Yeah, I'm a
just be like, I'm not fucking talking to you about this.
Yeah, I'm an executive in this company, but didn't read this major lawsuit that is rocking the company. Yeah. Just say I can't comment. Legal matter. I'm not able to comment. That's all I had to do.
Better than what he said.
But the idea is, like, I believe that well, oh yeah. I believe the whole report about Punk, the Punk injury, the Lesnar banishment, we have to try to do anything we can to deflect off of this Vince thing, all kind of snowballed together to say we need to throw a Hail Mary here, and the Hail Mary we got is The Rock. And do I think that they had Cody Rhodes winning the Rumble thinking we're going to do Rock Roman at WrestleMania and Cody's going to wrestle Seth Rollins? No, I don't. I don't, because I just don't think that's the way they would have gone. I think this was an audible, which makes me think that the big reaction here is going to make them audible again.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. What was our other note that we talked about tonight? I don't remember now. I don't remember. Rock Vince are the big ones. Stuff cover. Oh, that was last week. What was the other thing we wanted to bring up? Oh, another big thing that happened. 2 minutes, nice shirt, BP. If it's you, that's dope.
I've been wrong before.
But the Bailey has left Damage Control. She's gonna challenge Io. I like that. I want Bailey to have a WrestleMania moment. That would be sick.
Right on.
So here's what we wanted to do. This is I just remembered now. It hit me. Sorry, this got me.
Oh
yeah. So what we kind of pitched in our room in our chat, and we wanted to bring it to the table. We probably should have promoted that this was going to be our main topic, but TNA allowed Jordynne Grace to come over and compete in the Women's Rumble, and it was a blast. It was a good time. And TKO is now the streaming service or the streaming platform to help TNA get more eyes. Awesome too. Does TKO and eventually TNA and WWE all work together at some point? I mean, that's a good show of gratitude of letting their champion to go in the Rumble, and then WWE booked their champion pretty well. Had some good moments.
Right on.
Fit in like a glove into the roster. I mean, after watching the Women's Rumble, which I think was the best Women's Rumble they've ever put on.
Oh yeah,
one of the best Rumbles. I mean, it was up there. It was a good Rumble.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. We think to ourselves is, do we have that TNA versus WWE pay-per-view? Probably not.
Well, no, it's not going to happen.
Let's have some fun here with that, and we'll get the chat involved. Who are some matchups between the TNA roster and the WWE roster that you want to see collide?
Kofi Kingston versus Nick Nemeth. Never saw that before. Never.
So the big one we'll just kind of do because of Jordan, as Jordynne Grace Bianca looks real fun. Jordynne Grace versus Jade looks like a lot of fun. Jordynne Grace versus Ivy Nile looks like a lot of fun. 3 matchups right there for Jordynne Grace. Is there one that stands out more than another for you?
One that I would love to see would be Josh Alexander and Chad Gable. I think that would be a lot of fun. Very complementary styles.
Oh, the chat's already going crazy. Lashley versus Moose.
There you go.
Roman versus Moose. Yeah. Kushida versus Nakamura.
Yeah, because they didn't really counteract a lot because Kushida was always in the junior division. By the way, just some breaking news from the NXT pay-per-view. Lyra Valkyria retains the women's title, though Lola Vice cashed in her, what is it, the
like
rookie...
the spotlight rookie,
yeah, and lost. So she made it a 3-way.
Valkyrie is good. I don't think she's not talented. I'm not identifying her as a champion. Like, she's just not doing it for me as a champion. And the more I look at her, she looks like Winnie Cooper. Or not Winnie Cooper. She looks like what's her name from Dusk Till Dawn?
Salma Hayek?
Salma Hayek. She has like a Salma Hayek look to her, and Roxanne Perez looks like Winnie Cooper.
Right. Sure.
Anyway, Dragunov's not doing for me as champion either. I think he's very, very talented, but as a champion, he's not doing it for me.
He's obscenely talented in the ring, but I think it's an acquired taste, and I'm not really at liberty.
His champions of a promo, the story they're building around him it's all flat, but when he gets in the ring, boy, he looks good. Speedball versus Ricochet, I love that.
They had to have crossed paths. Then again, right? You would think.
Rosemary versus Rhea Ripley.
All right.
I mean, Jordynne Grace, Rhea Ripley is another cool one.
Jordan can't wrestle all the muscle girls.
Yeah, she can't beat everybody up. MCMG versus New Day.
There we go. Yeah,
that's a good one. Masha versus Rhea. Now we're talking.
Yeah, Masha and Killer Kelly. Well, Killer Kelly, I know, was in the system. She was in NXT UK, but she was woefully misused.
I love Masha. So for me, Masha Rhea is fun. I love that matchup. I think Masha Becky is fun because they both have that like we're the man type deal. You know what I mean? But for me personally, and I think if you probably asked Masha, I think she would probably say Natalya, because Masha's a giant Dynamite Kid fan, and that's about as close as you're gonna get to that, like as a female standpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nick Nemeth versus Cody. Ace and Bay versus Street Profits.
There are so many people we want Nick Nemeth to wrestle from WWE.
Yeah, Ace and ABC would be great with the Street Profits, but also be good with the Usos. Could you imagine?
Well, in the chat, there we go. Steven's got it in the chat. ABC versus DIY, the Battle of the Letters.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Ace Austin versus Nakamura. I don't hate that either. Is awesome Kong still in TNA? I think so.
No, I believe she may have come in for like a guest spot or something, but I believe she has largely retired.
Speedball versus Logan Paul.
Yeah, that would Speedball against pretty much anybody. Like Speedball against your super worker, Speedball AJ Styles, even though AJ's a little older now.
Speedball AJ, Seth AJ.
Speedball Seth, yeah.
Yeah, Speedball Seth, sorry.
Speedball all the old Ring of Honor guys too. Yeah. That would all be good.
You know who's a low key one that I want to see work, just because I think a lot of the old school independent shows that would be fun to recreate, and I just want them to be on TV more. Tozawa, like Tozawa Ace, Tozawa Speedball.
Yeah,
like
Tozawa.
Dude, people don't realize how
good
Tozawa really
you can kind of uncork Dragon Gate USA Tozawa or Dragon Gate Japan Tozawa.
EP Berg versus Paul Bow.
Oh no, no ring can handle that level of thick.
You guys be both in the ring puking more than most other people. Ooh, Su Yung versus Asuka. I love that matchup. Su Yung just wrestled. Shit, who was it? It was just on GCW. Su Yung versus
Dark Sheik, maybe, or
no? It was kind of like I don't want to like call it a gimmick match, but it kind of was a gimmicky thing. But it was a matchup I kind of want to see. The show that's on, I think there's a show on tonight that looks really good too.
Yeah, tonight I believe is Jamie Senegal's match.
Yeah, Jamie versus Brittany Brooks. Santana Jackson, the guy who dresses like Michael Jackson versus Su Yung.
Santana Jackson is a fun gimmick. It's a very fun gimmick. I love the spot that he'll do now where he teases the dive, like how Ray used to tease the dive and then do like the 619 through the top middle rope. They'll do it. Santana will do a thing where he'll tease the dive, and then he'll moonwalk back to the other rope. That's great.
The J Cup looks good this year too. We got to cover that when it happens.
Oh, what was the one? I think it was Mike Bailey against Great Sasuke. Was something I was like, whoa, that's an interesting one.
Dude, Mike Speedball's getting all the love which he absolutely deserves.
Oh yeah, he's getting his flowers, which he certainly deserves.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Oh, and if you're doing if there was any, and obviously this is a fantasy land, but if there were ever any sort of TNA WWE crossover, you would have to do something. Even though I'm just blanking. I'm sure they did plenty of stuff together when they were both in WWE. But if you don't do something with Santino and R-Truth, you're missing the boat.
Yeah, no,
that's
totally.
Two of the best. That's two of the best comedic performers in wrestling ever.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the roster here. I don't know who we book him against. We can't do Taker, but just like Killer Cross, because Cross can still fucking go. PCO Cross. Hey, you gotta get PCO in there somewhere.
The two crazy men. Well, yeah, Killer Cross is a little more calculated, but
who would go crazy with PCO?
Nobody in WWE. I mean,
I do. I know. There's one. Kevin Owens.
Oh, the Battle of the French Canadians. Well,
yeah.
Kevin's not the biggest fan of PCO's old tag partner, so. But everybody loves PCO though, so I don't think that would be.
PCO. I'd take PCO with almost anyone on the roster. Tommy Dreamer, we never seen him really work too much in the other system. I forgot.
Dreamer.
Oh, Tasha Steele.
Yeah,
Tasha Steele would be a fun one. Tasha versus like anyone, because she's so young still.
Io Sky,
she's so good. Io, Tasha versus Io.
There's so
much good stuff there.
There, in fact, I'll segue that, and I'll do my plug a little early. Zaya Brookside is also in TNA now. Zaya Brookside's been doing a few matches with Tasha Steeles.
Really?
Formerly of NXT UK, yeah, and she'll be at PPW next Saturday.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't go.
I got you.
I know there's just certain people. There's one guy they booked. I can't in good faith go.
Yeah,
I don't like
good
him.
Ricky Price.
Yeah, I told you Ricky Price. No, I can't even joke about that because people legit get upset that we're feuding again.
Now you're feuding with Harleen Lopez. That's why you can't go.
Yeah, I hate Harleen Lopez. I don't want to say that either because she might legit kill me. She's crazy. Yeah. But so we're gonna do next week. We don't have a topic, but we do have an idea for our very first episode next week, and we're gonna say it now so you all can do your homework, and then join us next week as we talk about this pay-per-view and review it, and you guys can give your takes as well. But we have a number generator that I'm gonna put up on the screen here. And in that number generator, we are going to do between numbers 1 through 35. 1 through 35. 39. Sorry, 39. I don't know why I had said 30 because it says 35 on the screen.
It defaults to a number automatically.
Yeah. So we are going to randomly pick a WrestleMania and hope to God we don't get 4.
4. No, we really don't want 4, 2. We don't want 2, 4, 11, or 26. Those are the whammies on this board.
I think we've already covered it, but I don't. There is some topics we did talk about before the show too that we wouldn't mind going back and rehashing some old topics that we did, because I think we did some topics that like I thought were good topics that people didn't talk about enough. Like I think the Sputnik Monroe. I think our episode with about Bearcat. Because
I apologize. Looking in the chat, I stay correct. I was talking about bad ones. I meant to say 27. 27 is a bad one. 26 was okay.
I'm hoping for 10. I'll watch that one all day long.
Oh yeah, that's the one we did before. We did this before and it was 10. That's what it was.
Because Sean ladder match. Actually, I have that figure coming in. It did not arrive yet, which really sucks. And it did one of those things where Amazon's like, we may have lost your shit. If you don't have this by a certain time, let us know. We'll refund you. But it's like I pre-ordered a figure that I can't get, and it's Sean versus Razor ladder match. And if I get screwed out of that figure, I might cry because that's my favorite match of all time. My favorite.
I like that Obafemi's coming out, and on my image right now, it looks like I'm doing Triple H's entrance from like 2001.
Dude, I love how the crowd's doing the whoo, like the Black.
I am so sold on this guy.
Yeah,
I don't want to turn this into a live watch for this show, but I am so sold on Obafemi.
But let's see what we're gonna watch. You ready?
Yeah,
here we go.
23. Oh.
Well, now we're gonna do something else. 23.
Yeah.
BP.
Well,
let's run down the card. From absolute memory.
Well, the big thing here is I'm not gonna do so well with running down the card. Because I'm better with that with the older WrestleManias. But the big thing with that is this is the Battle of the Billionaires WrestleMania.
Oh, we watched a Donald Trump billion.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, and a lot of Vince McMahon too, which is probably even worse.
Fuck.
Are we gonna use our reroll?
I kind of want to reroll. I don't want to watch a fucking Vince McMahon Donald Trump.
It's probably not the best time to.
Yeah, it's a horrible timing. It's just bad timing.
It's probably not the best time frame to watch a WrestleMania that's set. Well, the good thing Rio Shawn Michaels is in the main event there.
Sean versus Donald Trump.
Sean versus John Cena. Let's do it again. I'm using executive. I'm using my spot on the board of directors.
All right.
To strong arm.
We'll roll again.
You got to put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Or people will cry shenanigans.
I hit the invite button again. Share screen.
Are you still trying to invite the fake Brian Keith?
Oh. No, I invited you. They didn't come. All right, here we go.
Let's do it. 5. Oh, I love this one. Yes.
All right, let's 5.
The mega powers explode.
All right.
The mega powers explode. Hulk Hogan.
We have to watch Hogan. We can't win them all. You know what I mean?
If you got any of the bottom, if you got any of the first 9, you're getting Hogan. So
yeah.
But you're not just getting the mega powers explode. Oh, that's the big thing. You're getting Rick Rude against the Ultimate Warrior.
Good match.
You're gonna get King Haku against the Mighty Hercules. It is the WrestleMania debut of a certain tag team. I wonder whatever happened to the one guy on this, the Rockers, against the Twin Towers, Big Boss Man and Akeem.
Speaking of the Rockers, Jannetty's gonna have to get his leg amputated.
Well, he probably got an infection many years ago from diving through a barbershop window to get away from Shawn Michaels. And
yeah, he was terrified. He had to run away.
Yeah, that was like 32 years ago. That was 32 years ago. This WrestleMania you're talking about was 35 years ago. I love WrestleMania 5.
There's another good match on this card. They only got 5 minutes though.
Yeah, it was a bloated card. This is when they put too many matches on WrestleMania. So I'm trying to think of the other matches we had.
You said a tag team, so it's the Rockers versus Twin Towers.
And then, then you also had there's a few tag matches on that card. You also have
there's a lot.
You have Demolition against the Powers of Pain and Mr. Fuji.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Bushwhackers against the Ragu Sisters, or as they called them, the Fabulous Rougeau Brothers. You have the Hart Foundation against not yet Rhythm and Blues. It's just the Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Are you a Hammer Valentine fan?
Not especially.
Yeah, I used to watch this, like when I would watch his old matches, I'm like, I'm not into this guy at all.
Well, he was even in the 80s, he was a little vanilla. He was a little vanilla. It's being said in the chat already, Mr. Perfect in the Blue Blazer, which is a short one, but still very good. I believe you had Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and I'm trying to think. It was Beefcake and DiBiase, I believe.
Yes.
Beefcake and DiBiase. I was thinking, was it Beefcake or was it Jake and DiBiase? But that was 6.
Yeah.
Jake is against Andre on this one, with Big John Studd as the referee. And you have Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior. You have Ronnie Garvin and Dino Bravo on this one. You have I have to be running out of matches now.
Your favorite of all time wrestles.
Bobby the Brain wrestles against the Red Rooster. Yeah, he wrestled 2 WrestleManias in a row. I think the only WrestleManias where he wrestled was this one, and then
put a solid 31 seconds in.
Well, he was injured going into the match. He got beat up by the Ultimate Warrior. Did I get them all, or am I missing a few?
Heart Foundation, Rude.
Got it.
You missed one.
Oh, hold on. I also missed the Brother Love show with or actually no, it was Piper's Pit with Brother Love and Morton Downey Jr. What a moment in time that was.
Did you say you said Ronnie Garvin, right?
Yeah, Ronnie Garvin and Dino Bravo.
Yeah, you said that one. So you're missing one.
Gotta rack the brains here. Is it a singles match?
It is.
Okay. Who did I miss? I got Duggan and Bad News, right?
Oh yeah, because I thought you did say it then. I thought you missed it. Yeah, it was Duggan and Bad News.
That is square in my wheelhouse. That WrestleMania is square in my that is the beginning of my wheelhouse. That is where I am locked in as a fan.
All right. Well, that's what we're gonna do next week. We're gonna do a little bit of This Week in Wrestling, and then we're gonna cover. We're gonna
Mega Powers explode.
Mega Powers explode. Does not mean the podcast is gonna explode. We're not breaking up, but we are gonna cover that episode. If you want to get in the WrestleMania spirit, Witchcrafts by Lily's got you covered with the merchandise on the on our Teespring. Up right now is the classic ABJ podcast WrestleMania thing. Maybe if you're all good boys and girls and theys and thems, I inclusive and trying to include everybody, maybe we'll do this exact font, but we'll do it tornado tag. We'll bring back a tornado tag inspired WrestleMania logo and put that up as well. And then we also have the ABJ podcast Philadelphia logo. I made my own version. I'm proud of it. So fight me about it. I don't know what to tell you. But we have tons of merchandise. I gave everyone till Friday. Unfortunately, if you didn't watch any of the watch-alongs and you missed it, the new rule is to win the scorecard. So we're going to do giveaways for the scorecard. Whoever wins gets a t-shirt if you win. But you need to be a member of our Discord, or I have to physically know it's you on the card so I can actually contact you and say you won. Curtis won. I tried to reach out to Curtis. He has not answered any of my messages. So Curtis does not win the Wear Rumble t-shirt, and everybody else who was in the top 5 did not respond yet. So they are all they didn't get it. So it came down to 2 members of my Discord, Alex and Raz. They will win they will each get a Royal Rumble t-shirt my next payday. So that'll be the giveaway tonight. Whoever wins our card If I know you, I'll get in contact with you. We'll do an NXT shirt, or maybe the Vengeance Day logo. We have a Vengeance Day logo, but it needs to be modified. It was the old Vengeance Day logo with the heart in the middle, but we have a Vengeance Day logo for whoever wins tonight. Rope break with his teeth. Hope Femby. But
by the way, you're a little ahead of me, I think. By the way, question in the chat here. Is anybody is there any match from WrestleMania 5 where everyone is still alive? The only one I can think of is DiBiase and Beefcake. DiBiase and Beefcake are both still kicking. I'm trying to rack my brain because Bad News is gone.
So
Heenan's gone.
Haku's alive, right?
Hercules is not. Hercules is passed.
Not.
One of the Bushwhackers is passed.
Bossman is gone, so that match is out.
DiBiase
and Virgil all still alive.
Yeah, I think that might be the only one, unfortunately. Yeah, because
one of the Bushwhackers is gone. Perfect and Blue Blazer are gone. Fuji's gone. Barbarian gone.
Fuji's
right?
Fuji's the only guy in that match that is passed.
Okay, so yeah, because Axon's match are definitely still alive. Because
Fuji is literally in the match. Fuji is not managing; he's in the match.
Yeah.
Although we didn't escape that stank completely though. By the way, because that show does
Rick
take
Martel
place at the Trump Plaza.
Yeah.
Is the venue of WrestleMania 5.
Rick Martel passed away, right?
No, Rick Martel is alive. Oh, I did forget a match.
Tully, Tito, and Rick
Strike
Martel.
Force and the Brainbusters. I did forget a match. Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody in that match is still very much alive. Yeah.
Jim's gone. Rude's gone. Warrior's gone. Duggan is alive, but Bad News Brown is gone.
Bad News Brown is passed.
Yeah. So 3 matches. Good. That's a great question. I like that kind of stuff where you make us rack about it.
There was
Hunter's questions. Hold on. Let me go back to Hunter. If I didn't answer him, I'm really, really sorry. And we'll wrap up this podcast here. Where we at? Hunter's questions. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just kind of saying, I was going to say something about, I forget what it used to be or what it is now because a few people have passed on that. But there was this whole thing before about what is the oldest pay-per-view where everybody in the pay-per-view was still alive. And for a long time until Vader passed, it was everybody that wrestled. And for a long time, it was Slamboree 93. Or not, I'm sorry, Slamboree 94, which is also the first pay-per-view I ever went to. But now Terry Funk has also passed, and he's on that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I think maybe one or
so the first question is, do you think Karrion Kross, AOP will get released? If Triple H is fired, they'll get rid of everybody that Triple H brought back. I think if there's value to them, I don't think they'll get fired.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll get fired if you were a Triple H hire.
Right. I think a lot of those cuts, when they got cut before, were Vince cuts, and Vince is gone. Yeah. So the only way I think you would see that is if they do a house cleaning, and part of that house cleaning is we need to also cut some costs talent-wise and trim down our roster a little bit. If that happens, anybody's fair game. But I don't think they would be released because of their connection to Triple H.
I totally agree.
Yeah. If you're going to start cutting people because Triple H hired them, then you're going to start cutting people because Vince hired them. That's everybody.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on The Rock taking Cody's spot? Do you think The Rock will get Triple H fired or CEO replacement with himself? We did kind of talk about that. We didn't
really get too into it.
We think it's a possibility that The Rock could be booking by the end of 2024. You know what I mean?
If Triple H is gone, I don't think it's a Rock power play. I think it's because he was too close to Vince. And if he is gone, I definitely don't think The Rock would be the person who would then step in and be in charge of day-to-day creative. I don't think The Rock wants that on his plate. The Rock has too many other things. The Rock's not going to spend WWE. I don't think will be a full-time job for The Rock. I think acting is still going to be ahead of it. I think his other businesses are going to be ahead of it. It's something he's going to be definitely more engaged with than he's been for a long time because he now has $30 million worth of stock in the company and he's on the board of directors of the company. If they move on from Triple H, it would more be because he has got the Vince stank on him, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And if that happens, the name people seem to be looking at, and it would make a lot of sense, is Brian Gewirtz. Brian Gewirtz, for a long time, was the head writer of Raw. And I think he was a little bit even farther up than that. He was a guy who left WWE and has worked with The Rock. He's known as a guy who would write a lot of The Rock's promos. Brian Gewirtz's strength always seemed to be comedy. And a lot of the criticism about Brian Gewirtz was that the product was too jokey, too funny, too unserious when he was the main driver of the writing. That's when you had things like Eugene. That's when you had things like Crime Time and John Cena writing JBL is poopy on JBL's limo. But a lot of that was directed from the top that we're going to market the kids again. And I don't know how much of that was Brian Gewirtz. He's a guy who was very close with The Rock. The Rock gives Brian Gewirtz a lot of credit for The Rock being as big as he was, because a lot of that funny stuff The Rock said wasn't written by The Rock. A lot of it was, a lot of it wasn't.
Yeah. C. Henry says the press conference wasn't Triple H's fault. TKO should prep him beforehand.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't have a prepared statement from the PR team. Triple H was the public face of that, so he's going to take the heat for it. But I think it was definitely a failure of their PR department.
Yeah. So if you want to play along with us or even hang out with us or look for a place that you want to chat and hang out with a majority of the people that you've seen in this chat here tonight, as well as some of the video, we do video chats and hangouts and a lot of cool things in that Discord. Come and join us. This is the link here. Join the cult of ABJ. That's our Discord. We just have a little funny name to it. One day we will get BP there. Everyone's clamoring for that day. It's going to be
so disappointing.
Yeah, but monumental thing. But if you want to play along with the Pro Wrestling Scorecards and be eligible for a prize, join the Discord. You can download it on your phone and chat along. It's a cool little chat room. You can have it on your computer, however you want to do it. But we do have a Discord tab under the ABJ content. Giveaway tab. So join in there so we can get you in. So you can be eligible for giveaways, and we're gonna have a lot of cool giveaways coming up. Also, if you want to support all things ABJ, whether it be merchandise, follow on social media, leave a tip or donation, that link is right here. It is also below at the link tree. BP, do you have anything to plug?
We talked about it a little bit earlier. PPW on Saturday, this coming Saturday, which I believe is the 11th. It's the day before the Super Bowl. Slatington Expo Center. If you're local, it's in Slatington, Pennsylvania. If you are not local, usually, I don't know if they're always live, but usually within a week or so, they're up on Premier Streaming Network.
Yes.
But even if you can't make it to the show, follow PPW Entertainment on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. The YouTube could be having some fun stuff coming to it soon. That's where you're going to see a lot of my stuff, a lot of the fun backstage stuff we're doing. Kind of establishing characters and things like that. The
arms up bit was great.
The CXR stuff.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun, and they'll be back. Those two Epics and Chael are incredible. They're going to be wrestling your buddy, Ricky Price.
Ricky is Ricky going to be stuck in tag team turmoil where he's going to be randomly teaming up with everybody for a while?
No, there's an existing team called Counter Strike. He teamed with half of them last month as Counter Price. Now he's teaming with the other half this month as Counter Price. PPW also has a trios division, so look out for Counter Price in the trios division as well.
There you go. Also, content-wise, if you go check it out, I do have some interviews up. Episode 100 just dropped with Lindsay Dorado, so go check out that interview. Episode 101 with Rob Radke's out right now. You're going to see two grown men talk about Taylor Swift, and it's magical.
They're great. Both those two are great.
Yeah, 5 questions with ABJ. Rich Swann is out right now. And then tonight at midnight, Tarzan Duran or Tarzan Devil is going to be out. It's a good one. It's a good one. So fun fact, when Gavin on his interview says, I do it for the girls, I think he lifted that from Tarzan because he heard Tarzan go first. And just think the entire time you're watching Tarzan's 5 questions, Gavin's just off screen.
Oh my God.
So there you go. So Tarzan, so the month of February is going to be really jam-packed. So every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Saturday for the rest of the month, except the last week, there's going to be 3 episodes a week. So Tuesday is going to be Joe Ruda. Thursday is going to be Sam Evans Art, who does really good art on Instagram. Go follow him now to go see all that. Saturday will be Merrick Miami, who has an amazing story of wrestling and being a fan and having a cool experience of wrestling your favorite wrestler. How many guys you grow up and you're like, man, I want to wrestle the guy who got me into the business. Merrick Miami got to do that with really a former WWE superstar. It's a really cool story. Go check that one. That one's going to be a lot of fun. I already had one member of the Lost Boys. We're going to knock out 2 this month, BP, and we're going to start with Ethan Promise. And then on that Thursday will be Jorge Guapo, which is going to be a rising star in the Northeast scene. Mm-hmm. Then Saturday, if you're a good noodle, BP, you get a star.
Oh, I love Mr. James
is coming to town. And then following that on a Tuesday will be our other member of the Lost Boys, Miles Penn, coming to the podcast. And then I had to turn my camera off for this one because the handsome level was just unbearable. Handsome Max 0 on
Is that
the
why
podcast.
It's in black and white?
Yeah. I had to dumb it down. It was just too much for the internet. And then we're gonna end. You think, and I don't have a graphic for the other one. I'll just tell you about it. But we have episode 111, Brightmare, which is an exciting one.
I don't have a graphic. Here's the graphic.
No, I don't have a graphic for this one I'm about to say.
Oh, okay.
So ending the month will be the world famous cheeseburger, which I'm really, really excited for. That episode is in conjunction with Labor of Love. They have a show coming up Mania weekend that Cheeseburger will be part of. So Labor of Love reached out to Cheeseburger, who then reached out to me to do the podcast. A huge thank you to Labor of Love. Support them as well. They have a lot of great stuff on IWTV and Facebook.
Support Cheeseburger, the Worldwide Dojo, putting out some good
great
kids
talent
right now.
Yeah. So all of that's coming to the show, the content, and then we'll be back live when it comes to content and movie reviews and pop culture stuff and horror movie stuff, and that all comes in March. And more interviews with not just people professional wrestling. We're going to do some music. We're going to have some content creators. We're going to have a lot of fun things coming in the month of March. But we'll see you guys next time on the Tornado Tag Podcast next Sunday as we talk about the Mega Powers Explode.
WrestleMania 5.
Thanks for watching this presentation. Like, share, and subscribe for more.